Yes. This melting point, temperature in which a substance is changed from a solid to a liquid. Yeah. I think it's an important point. The tungsten melts at 3,410 degrees Celsius. Yeah. Now you multiply that by 1.8. Yes. Approximately 7,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Phew. Now, I wanted to desalinate some water. Yes, yes, yes. I have the availability of heating up tungsten. Yes. And there's certain uses for this desalinated water. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Now, these mental illnesses that you say that I have. Yes, I think you put me in a false light considering all the emails. Could you get me the planet of Mercury? There's not a lot of people living there, but it has a very short length of year. Yes. If somebody could just point their telescopic radio telescopes at Mercury, yes. Does somebody have a computer on Mercury because of the amount of sunlight available to you? Pooch. Now, there's a lot of these technology companies that don't want me competing. And I'm going to compete. Do you remember that proxy lawsuit that I mentioned right now? You know, if I find that on any of the planets other than planet Earth, yeah, that you decide to build something super top secret that the rest of the world didn't know about, I just need all the radio frequencies on the nearest planets, the nearest two on each side of the Earth. Yeah. You know, I'm really upset, really upset. Who was it that decided to put a super top secret supercomputer on? Oh, well, let's say I have one of these chips that are made from desalinated water. Somebody said, no, his chips are not the fastest, and I think they are. I think they are. And I'm being obstructed from making trillions upon trillions of dollars because these imbeciles that say I'm delusional for knowing where I was at and what I was doing, even though they would say all the evidence points at it, there's no possible way any of these crimes could be true. Now, this cruel and unusual punishment on the part of the state of Washington? Yes. You know, Governor, poop. I'm going to put you in prison. Ouch, ouch, ouch. And every law that you sign into law, I'm going to invalidate. Ouch. Because I will make sure that anything that you signed while in office, while having knowledge of this cruel and unusual punishment, that I've refused to pay ransom and reward to be able to speak to my own sons, yes, because the state of Washington. Furman versus Georgia. Cruel and unusual punishment. Therefore, the death penalty violated the 8th and 14th Amendment of the United States Constitution. Really? What about your fraudulent mental health evaluations? The administering of psychotropic medication against my will. You know, there was a guy named Dale Carnegie who was very successful at motivating people, had a self help book. You know, I thought maybe I could write a self help book. How to Stop Worrying and Start Living, 1948. Public Speaking and Influencing Men in Business. You know, I think I can actually sue corporations for obstructing my right to do business because of my inability to influence individuals in business. Now, for Microsoft or Intel or Apple or Alphabet or IBM or any of these big leaguers that call themselves not competing, as in you're monopolizing operating systems. I think that I could be an influence in business if I could get the fraud and forgery removed. Now, I've often mentioned that I'm somewhat of a motivational speaker. There's big money that is oftentimes paid to hear certain individuals. I mean, Bill Gates, yes, let's say he's going to speak to a group of individuals. Do you receive compensation as a CEO or one of these big name employees of these corporations to speak to groups of individuals? Why don't you get me the speaking fees of every oath that I'm going to sue for the last 40 motherfucking years? I need that talking to you right now. You know, It's nice to innovate, isn't it? Yes. But there's this whole part of intellectual property and then making materialize the intellectualism of my own individual, where I introduce to the world a desalinated salt chip, yes, that is etched, ooch, 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 and actually works. And I say, look at world, instead of using silicon semiconductor chips, we can use salt chips. Now, let's say I went to sue, and yes, I'm going to want to know the speaking fees of Tim Cook, ooh, Bill Gates, the CEO of Intel, Eric Schmidt, Sergey. Now, I would tell you, not only will I sue you for not informing your stockholders,